I am Mastani and I wear many hats. I am an entrepreneur. I'm also a deep transformational coach. I also hold spaces for healing. What I love to do is to create brave, safe spaces for people to explore their inner world. And so, at the core of it all, what I love to do is help people create change in their lives from the inside out. And everything I've done in my life has been fueled by two passions. The first is to do meaningful work, and the second is a deep interest in self awareness and inner discovery. So that's a really good question. I think I grew up in Mumbai and I felt like my world was perfect. Everything was going on really well. And then around the age of 9 or 10, I my parents decided to happen fights started to happen at home, and my parents were kind of going through a divorce process, so that affected me a lot, and it made this perfect reality come crashing down, and it was almost like I lived in a bubble and that bubble had burst, and now I was looking at reality, and it was a really hard time for me because because my parents were going through difficulty. My mother was not there as much as at home, so I was feeling really lonely. I also underwent some abuse by others, so it was like a huge wake up call for me, and I feel like at that time, I started to ask some big questions like, what is life about? You know, what is good? What is bad? What is truth? What is lies? Like, how do people change their behavior so quickly just with one event happening? And so it really started making me ask a lot of questions. And I think I came across this first self help book, I think when I was maybe 14 or so. It was called Conversations with God. And that book gave me a lot of hope because I always felt like I had a connection with God. And with that book, I started to talk to what I thought was God, but I think I started to talk to my higher self and started to understand things, started to make sense of things. And that kind of set me on my healing path. And like when I was small, like even up until being a teenager, I was a very shy, very timid, very insecure child. And so it's actually been 20 years in the making of me, even, being here today and sitting here today. And so it has been this diligent practice of inner work, of self awareness, of shedding off all these layers of conditioning, and that's why I'm so passionate about this work, because I feel like this work helps you rise from wherever, rise from the ashes, from whatever life throws at you. It gives you the skills to empower yourself through that process. Yeah. And become the best version of yourself, flower into who you were meant to be. Yeah. Okay, so for me, why did I go down the traditional corporate route? Again, it was influenced by what I saw in my family. So what I saw was that when a woman, even though my mother had spent 20 years, doing everything for my father and his family, but the minute she wanted to choose a different life or she didn't want to stay married to him, everything was taken away from her. So one of the big lessons she told me was that no matter what, you have to be independent. You have to earn a good living for yourself. And so that kind of took me down the traditional path. So I studied very hard in school. I got a scholarship for university, and then I became a consultant at Deloitte. And so basically by the age of 27, 28, I'd hit a lot of my personal goals. So I was in a big company in London. I was working as a consultant, but something in me felt really empty. So even though I was successful I was an independent woman and successful in the ways of the world, I felt like there was a split in me because my passion and everything was in mindfulness, self-awareness, spirituality, and my work was, work felt very disconnected. Although I did enjoy the work I did. It just felt like it didn't have a meaning or a purpose behind it. I have spent so many years being this shy, timid, insecure child. I was a victim of bullying in school, and like for me, the biggest gift is to be comfortable in my own skin, to be proud of the person I am, and I feel like there's such joy in that. Just knowing who you are, being confident in who you are, and showing up as in the way that you feel is right. Uh, yeah, I feel like that has been the biggest thing. So for my younger self, like it's a very beautiful question because I feel like, yeah, I would be very proud of myself today if I was looking at my 15 or 16-year-old self. I don't even know if I would have, I don't know if I thought I would have the life I do. I you know, I cross my fingers when I say this, but I live a very blessed life. I have seen a lot of difficulty in my life. It's like I went through all the pain in my first 20 years of my life, and that's why I'm so passionate about this work, because I feel like this work of inner growth, self-awareness is what has helped me live such a blessed life today, and that's why that is my mission to share this work with everyone. Yeah. So over the last 20 years, I have tried so many different spiritual modalities, and there are 3 or 4 parts which really connect to me and I've gone deep into. So I would say that, yeah, there have been different parts. One thing I wanted to say is that for each person who is going on this inner journey of self-discovery, you need to be curious and you need to be open, and you need to also learn how to listen to your heart, and because your heart is your teacher. So try different things and see what works for you. For me, I was very blessed to be introduced to the world of spirituality through Osho. Osho was also my mother's guru and is also my guru, and I have a lot of his books, and what I really loved about his teachings and his way was that it was about accepting you for who you are. In a lot of religious and spiritual organizations, like the understanding is that you are impure and you need to change and become pure so that you are accepted or worthy of those teachings. But yeah, but at Osho, everything is about understanding what's coming up, and one very beautiful thing he shares is that unless you learn to accept who you are, you can't change who you are, and that is huge. So accepting, okay, this is me, and then looking at those parts, and then working towards healing those parts. I listened to this talk last week, and there the interviewer asked a question to this lady, and she says, how do you become the highest version of yourself? And I loved her answer. She said, by healing the worst version of yourself. So I feel like all the parts that we have suppressed or rejected, these are parts that need our love, that need our attention, that need our understanding. And when we do that, it unlocks so much more for us. And that's what was my journey with Osho. And then after that, I also love shamanic work. So I've been doing shamanic work for 16, 17 years, and I also hold shamanic ceremonies, cacao ceremonies, full moon, new moon ceremonies. And I love their connection to nature. So that has been another teacher for me. Nature has been a teacher as well. And then I have also gone to non-dual meditation, done a lot of silent sitting. So I have explored a lot of different paths, and so I would say that all of them have helped me, because at a certain time, one really helped me, and another time another helped me. Yeah. So I was was always a big achiever, so I always set huge expectations of myself, and then I always wasn't able to meet them, and then I would just go into this, oh, I'm not good enough. So I had to really unlearn that I am not good enough. I think that was a very ingrained in my head. And yeah, so I am enough exactly as I am is something that I had to learn. And then it kind of connects to the earlier question, but I had to unlearn that we need to be perfect and we need to be good. And I had to learn that our imperfections make us who we are, our imperfections make us human, and it is perfectly okay to make a mistake and apologize for it, or to make a mistake and learn from it. Those are all very valid ways of being and growing in the world. So, when did I start noticing my inner world influencing the outer world? I guess from an early age, I guess when I was even in university, I would do these breathing techniques to increase my level of concentration so that I could cram before the exam and be able to focus and deliver on my assignments on time. So, I think I saw the benefit of mindfulness very early in life. Like, definitely it's what helped me do really well in my studies, focus in my studies, but it was always, for a long time, it was on that level. Like, I had the skills to concentrate, learn and deliver. But I would say that when I started Home Tree, I feel like I started to see, and in leadership, I think I felt that I could really see how my inner world was affecting my outer world. Even in Home Tree, having this big vision of bringing mindfulness into the way we work, and everything that I had dreamed of Home Tree, it takes time for a vision to materialize. But with each step of that journey, I feel very much that in the last year or two, I am really seeing the flowering. But it's not that it wasn't there before. It's like step by step. So it's like a flower. It opens little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, and then it opens. So I can tell you, like right now, everything it feels very harmonious. But even the relationships, like, so even when I became a mother, it was really challenging for me. Like, just because I, from one culture moving to a different culture, I lived on my own for like 12 years, then living in a family with in-laws, like a joint family kind of setup, very different to the way I grew up. It challenged a lot of my beliefs, my conditionings, and all that. And I feel like even healing those relationships in my house, where I know in 2020 I was living in the same house and I was miserable. I felt like I was trapped in a cage. To now, where I'm living in the same house and I feel like I'm a princess, like where everything is going so beautifully for me. So yeah, it's like at each stage I had different challenges, and yeah, it slowly it started to happen. I feel like wherever you are in your life, like life is bringing you the challenges that you can transform right now. So it starts with the smaller challenges and then it gets bigger, and it's like a step over time. You are like, oh my god, I don't know how I got from here to here, but it's all these small steps that make the way. So the woman who has deeply inspired my path is my mother, Mrida. And there's just so much. I feel like one of the biggest blessings of my life has been having her as my mother. And what has she taught me? Like, so especially when they went through the divorce, I saw her in very desperate situations because she was a housewife for 20 years and she never had worked a day in her life, and my father was quite influential, wealthy. So when she decided to leave him, he made life very difficult for her. And yeah, even to the extent of bribing her lawyers and trying to bribe the judge and all of that, like, which happens in Indian society. But I really valued how she did not fall from her value system even when things got really hard. So, an example is that when I saw a lot of this ugliness, like I was ready to go to the court with her because I was like, no, what is happening is wrong. Like I will come with you and I will say the truth in the court. And she was like, no, I don't want you to get involved because I will not forgive myself if I do anything to hamper your relationship with your father. So I saw, like, it would have been much easier for her to have me because I was supporting her and to have a daughter supporting her. Because also my sister was supporting my dad, and like it would have been very easy for her to have me go with her to courts. It would have made her case a lot stronger. But because her ethics were so strong, she was like, no, I'm not going to take that route. And that really made me admire her. And I feel like that's the values I carry as well, to do the right thing. Like we all have our own value system, but to stick to your value system even when the going gets tough, is something I've learned from her. And then obviously my whole spiritual journey started with her, so that's something I've learned. And I've also learned, like, leading from the heart from her. She has this beautiful ability where in every room she walks, she brings in the heart. And like I remember even in university, like she would come to visit me and she would make food for all my friends and she would start talking to them. Even housemates that I barely spoke to, she would kind of talk to them, and like her presence is so heartwarming, and so it really taught me how to lead with love. Yeah. So my work started with mom circles. So in 2020, I was going through one of the hardest times in my life, as a mother of a 1.5-year-old, stuck in the house with my in-laws and extended family. And yeah, I was really struggling because my ways were very different to those of my husband's family. And I realized that I was probably not the only one struggling. And so I reached out to a few people and I said, okay, let's come together, let's gather every week and let's talk about what's happening. And that was the start. And I love women's work. I love women's circles because when women come together, when they share from their heart, I feel like it creates a lot of magic. And as women, we are looking after our family, we're looking after the children. So our emotional regulation is so important for the health of our family and the health of our children. Yeah, and then recently the work has grown to women's circles, women's retreats, and I feel like, I did see patriarchy growing up, like I shared, and I feel like women, in a very subtle way, they still play small. We don't have many examples, like we don't honor strong, confident women. Women in the South Asian picture, the idea of a woman is, submissive, soft-spoken, agreeable, and I feel like it's important. I feel like it's important for the voice of women to be heard. I think it's important for the feminine values to be there in our workplaces. And so that's kind of how I have supported women and sisterhood in my work at Inner Reset. So for me, passion plays a big role in whatever I do. And that was one of the reasons why I left the corporate career and became an entrepreneur and started Home Tree. So for me, passion means something that comes from within. And then when you say work with heart, it's something I've understood more recently, but it's something I always saw my mom doing, like in every interaction, even when she spoke to a domestic, talking from the heart, connecting from the heart. So this is something I've learned from her. And I feel like, at the end of the day, even a CEO of a big company is a human at the end of the day, and every employee is a human. If we can connect to each other on a human to human, heart to heart level, I feel like we create more bridges instead of divisions. And so for me, leading from the heart has first been about my own inner journey of connecting with my heart and becoming empathetic to my own feelings. And I feel as I've been able to do that more, I have been able to be that space where others can open their hearts and feel comfortable to be who they are in my presence. So, I am very passionate about creating brave, safe spaces for people, and I feel why it's so important is because um, I feel there are very few places where we can really share and express from our heart. I am not someone who likes small talk or discussing the news. I'm really interested in human to human interaction, and I feel like that's what we need, especially in a time when there's so much thrown at us. We're overwhelmed by information, by technology, by news, and we need to kind of ground and feel ourselves again. And I feel that happens with human connection. Um, and I feel like I have seen so much healing happen in circles where people have just been able to open their heart and share what's happening from their heart. I've seen how it's healed my own life. And I've seen how it's healed so much for others. And it's such a small, simple tool. So, self awareness for me is becoming conscious of the thoughts that are running in my head. And whenever anything happens, every situation triggers some thoughts, triggers some emotions. If I'm aware of that cycle, then I can respond in a much more conscious way. So, science now shows us, or psychology will tell you, that a lot of the times our reactions are basically learned responses or coping mechanisms from our childhood. That means that when we are not aware, we are just unconsciously repeating the same patterns from our childhood. And that happens in our relationships, that happens at work. And in that way, we are not, yeah, I think we are sabotaging ourselves because a lot of these patterns are patterns of either people pleasing or, judging yourself, judging others, overreacting. They in the end, they sabotage your relationships and also your relationship with yourself. So self-awareness is about taking that power back. So we have that power of free will. And I feel like we lose our free will because of the conditioning and because of the way the mind works. But self awareness actually helps you take back that free will so that you can consciously respond to every situation. And when you do that, everything changes. When people walk into Home Tree for the first time, I want them to be greeted by the smiling faces at our front desk, our staff. I think everyone who's come to Home Tree has always said how warm and friendly it feels, and I love that about the team at Home Tree. I love that we have so much nature in the space. So when they walk in, I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel inspired, and I want them to feel like they are at home, like they can really be who they are. They don't need to put a game face on or a mask on. Yeah, that's my feeling.